real quick, this is my alt channel, and my main channel is in danger every day of getting banned as a result of talking with these amazing people very candidly. So please do me a favor and subscribe down below. Helps me out a lot. Get the hell on it, doggone it.
Yeah, you want to talk about stress? I'm getting married in like 2 weeks, man.
Are you stressed because of the event, or are you stressed just because of getting married?
The event and getting everything to work out properly. And then it's one of those things that if I had access to all of these things myself, it would have already been done by now. But because you have to work with so many different people, I'm just like, this is such hell.
Oh my God, dude. I see, this is the thing. Well, being a female. So, and like you're kind of like typical. You're very atypical, but in some ways you're very typical. You know, so you want a wedding. You right? Like there's some girls that don't. But
I never wanted one, but now you know what it is if I would have gotten married a few years ago, I probably would have just done something small and like we're traveling, we're going to Hawaii or something like that. Yeah. But because of all of like the deaths in my family, I'm like, I kind of want to see everyone.
Yeah.
One last time kind of thing.
Is it one of those things where like there's like a color coordination like for all the stuff, and there's like a certain flower and there's all these certain things like in your wedding?
So you want to hear how like redneck I am? I ordered all of my flowers from Costco.
Good. Like
it saved me thousands of dollars.
Yeah, dude. I'll never forget. I've had friends in the past, and it's the funny thing is they're about to get married. They're like a month or two out, and they hate their significant other. And I'm like, why are you getting married? They're like, oh, well, I don't know. I guess we already spent the money. And I'm like, what do you? And then of course they divorce immediately. This is not your situation, obviously, but
No, we were joking about how we're like, even if we like hate each other and break up, we're still fucking getting married because this was so expensive.
It is. So I remember went to friends' marriages, and I've like had to fly, go to a big freaking wedding. It's all on like beaches. There's like receptions. There's all this food. There's like freaking custom color coordinated cars and like flowers. And like you go to this giant building that looks like a freaking hotel in Las Vegas that's completely rented out. And I'm like, how much do you spend on this wedding? And it's like tens of thousands of just ungodly amounts of money. And I'm like, you hate each other. And then of course they get divorced immediately. And I'm like, what was the point of all this shit? I'm so confused. It just is.
Be romantical.
What two of my friends said out of like the handful that had done this, they were like, oh, we thought that once we got married, it would just get better. And I'm like, you're an adult. What do you mean? Yeah. Becoming better or fixing a situation requires you to fix it. You can't just be like, well, we're married now. And then I've had friends that were like, well, we got married and then we still hated each other. So we decided to like try to have kids. And I'm like, you're digging the hole worse. It doesn't just get better, man. Like if you have miscommunication, for example, a lot of relationships break down over simple miscommunication, like the simplest shit possible. And it's like, it's petty shit. Like I want him to do stuff around the house, but I'm not going to tell him. I want him to predict it. So I'm going to leave pots and pans out for like a month and then just scream at him or have a meltdown eventually. And it's like, just have the conversation and like have communication. And if you're feeling a certain way, just kind of bring that communication forth. And sometimes I've had guys that are like, yeah, I'll do that. And their girls their like wives or whatever will flip the fuck out. Like at any communication possible that they're trying to bring into the relationship to fix an issue, they just take it as a personal attack or vice versa. And I'm like, man, it's just silly. It's very, very silly. And I've seen relationships break down over the silliest of shit. There always got to be compromise. Eventually, you have to have compromise somewhere in a relationship. And it's going to come from both sides. It's because a lot of people will be like, well, there needs to be compromise in a relationship. And I'm like, okay, on which end? Because it looks to me that your significant other is compromising everything and you're not willing to give an inch, but you keep saying we got to compromise, but only in your favor. Right. So there's a lot of things, and people aren't willing to do it. So they end up getting a divorce immediately.
Is that what happened with you?
No, mine was the weirdest shit. And when I tell people about it, they don't understand. And I still don't.
Oh, yeah, you said you were best friends, and then like she's like, I want to break up, right?
Yeah, we were together for almost 8 years. And I just got home one day and we like ate ice cream and like partied and watched TV and like watched a movie and like had smash pizzas, snuggled all night. It was great, like normal, like every day. There was never like a breakdown. It was just like always solid. And I woke up, she was quiet like all day. It was like very, very atypical. So I'm like, I was like, hey, you all right? Like, what's going on? And she was like, I don't love you anymore. I'm leaving. And I was like, what? And then it was over.
Oh my God.
It was like,
I'm sorry for laughing, but that's so sad.
It's crazy, right? No,
there was never. God.
And like 2.5 years later, she was already married. She got married again, like a few years later. And she like emailed, I think she like her therapist told her to like confront me and like bury the hatchet or something. Mm-hmm. And she like emailed me why and the subject matter said why I left. And it was a huge email. And I knew
She never even told you before that?
No, she never told me. And it was 2.5 years later, and I was already, dude, I moved on. We both moved on.
Yeah.
And I guess it was bugging her. So she had to like get her feelings out. So she sent me that email, and I'm not about to open wounds at all. So I see the subject of the email saying why I left, and I clicked it, and I see that it was a huge document, and I just hit the little button, like, and I had like the little box. I checked the box and hit delete. Didn't read
You never read it?
No. 2.5 years later, you're not going to tell me what I did wrong that your therapist told you. No, fuck that. It's over.
Dude, I want to fucking know now.
It's. I mean, she didn't.
You should like send it to your mom or something so your mom can.
Well, I mean, if she didn't know at the time, she's going to talk and then change what she remembers years later to a therapist, and the therapist is going to be like, "Yeah, this is all the things he did wrong." And then I deleted it. And then like a month later, she texted me or messaged me on Facebook. And she was like, did you read my email? And I was like, no, I deleted it. And she was like, oh, okay then. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, look, I'm not going to read a thing where you tell me all these things I did wrong. 2.5 years later, that's my past. It's over now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fucking hear that shit right now. If you would have told me a 6 months later, maybe, but not 2.5 years later while you're already married again. Fuck that. I ain't involved in this shit.
I guess that makes a little bit more sense. I'm just nosy, so I would have wanted to know.
Yeah, well, I'd already started YouTube and things were popping off. My life was good. I was traveling. I was just feeling really good about myself. And I was like, I'm not about to read this shit and get in a bad mood.
Get depressed, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, nope, delete. I'm in a good place. I'm not reading this.